Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100% You, a podcast which is all about discovering who you're truly meant to be and becoming the best version of yourself. Today's episode was actually planned to be a different one, but in the last minute, I had a huge feeling that I need to make it about a different topic that I was actually feeling today very strongly, and I just wanted to talk about it because I feel like it's something so important, especially after the previous episodes we had about momentum, expanding our vessel, and all of that. So today's episode is going to be about the guilt that sometimes we hold when we want to do something, and sometimes we postpone it, it delayed, or something happens, we don't have the energy, or all of that type of stuff. And many times when we want to achieve everything we want in our life, there's going to be setbacks. There's going to be situations in our life that we will not have the willpower to actually go and pursue what we wanted to do. And it's very important to give it a moment and give it the right place to also look at the situations, because this is just part of the way. You will never be 100% on track going toward your goals. Like, I wish that would happen, but that's far away from the truth. Many times when we want something really badly, there's going to be setbacks, especially if it's something that is actually aligned with your purpose, something that is actually needs to be done, and something that is very meaningful. Everyone is different, everyone has their own lessons they need to learn. Everyone is different in that type of aspect. But eventually, many times when you have something really meaningful coming our way, there's going to be a setbacks, and there's going to be those days where we just don't feel like it. There's going to be this moments where we feel like no matter what we're doing is just not the right thing. And I will give you just a quick example. So I know exactly what I need to do right now in order to get somewhere, okay? And this week on Saturday, I was telling myself I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in order to start the week in the right way, in order to plan everything accordingly, in order to, finish everything. But something happened. I don't know, eventually, if I look at this in a practical way, I wasn't doing the things that I thought I will do. The things that I did took me much longer time that I plan to do. Like this episode, for example, I recorded, guys, last minute. Like, I need to post this episode tomorrow. And what happened with all my episodes is that about 2 weeks ago, I told myself that I want to prepare all the episodes up front in order to create more room for things to come into my life. Because I realized something very important. Most of the episodes that I record, most of the editing stuff happens currently on weekends. And I understood something very important. If I want to have a relationship this year, I cannot keep this editing and recording on weekends, because eventually, I would love to have a partner and spend the weekends with him. And once it hit me and I understood that this is something that consumes time, that I would love to have more space for this energy to come inside my life, I understood that I need to automate the podcast to do it more efficient way. And last week, I actually sat on all the reels and episodes and planned for the upcoming episode. So I already know what I'm going to record. I started editing a bunch of content that I have that I did not use. All the reels that I plan to post, I found much easier way to edit them. Instead of every reel will take me 2 hours or 1 hour to edit, I realized I found a way that it can help me to edit in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and it will look much better in a higher quality. So that is still my goal, to somehow find the middle ground of how to make this podcast something that I will increase the level and will make it much better each and every episode. But at the same time, I want to make sure I structure it in the right way. I talked about structure in the episode about expanding the vessel to create more momentum. I highly recommend listening to this episode after this one, because I think it will give you more clear view on more connection about what I'm talking about. So once I realized this is something important for me, I told myself like this weekend, I'm gonna record all the episodes that I wanted to do. And somehow like it didn't happen because I just didn't feel like it. I also signed up for the half marathon this week, like, and I did not practice at all for the half marathon. So on Saturday, what happened? I went for like 12-kilometer run, and it takes time. And also I had things for school that I needed to finish. So everything kind of consumed more time. And also I just really wanted to chill and just relax and watch TV. And I don't know, I just felt this something that I want to rest. Looking at this now from, a few days after, I know that I would probably need to kind of push and know that this like me wanting to just watch TV and like waste the time. I actually need to push and do the stuff that I needed, because eventually what happened is that everything kind of postponed and delayed, and things took me much more time than I planned them to do. And I know I have this pattern from years ago. Like I don't have it now, but I saw in my life that every time I need to do like really hard work on weekends, suddenly I can feel like I just want to watch TV, I want to chill, and I don't watch TV usually. So when I have this, I usually recognize it as a pattern that I need to do something, I don't know if challenging, but something that requires me a lot of energy and like get out of my comfort zone, or like take a step that is a bit out of my comfort zone and what I want to do right now in order to achieve what I want. So I know that I have this pattern and I didn't break it this weekend. So entering to this new week on Sunday, yesterday, I felt guilt and I felt bad about myself. I felt that I kind of like ruined everything that I built. Now, this is something important, and I hope this is something you will take from this entire episode. Because I had this many, many times in my life, I know to kind of separate it and understand that this is just part of the way. And I know it's not something new. You probably also know it, that guilt and all of these feelings, that's just part of the way. That's part of the system we have as human beings. But for me, it was really important because I didn't felt this guilt in a really, really long time. And yesterday, I just felt that many of the old things, habits that I had that I broke already in the past few months, everything happened again, and it made me feel very bad. And I remember in the morning yesterday, I had a few things that made me feel like there's a beginning of a snowball effect of bad things that start to happen. And I stopped it. I stopped it at the same moment I noticed it, because I realized that my thoughts are going in the wrong direction. And something that I learned, and I'm so grateful for it. Again, this is something I hope you will take from this episode. Many times when you have breakthrough or a moment before something's come your way, before you achieve something, before when you change yourself, you change your identity, you change your habits, you have some kind of transformation in your life. At some point, just before the breakthrough, you're gonna experience everything coming back into your life for a test and for a lesson to see if you're ready or not to receive everything that you wanted, to test you and see, are you stepping back to the old habits you had? Are you stepping back to the old identity you used to have? And this is your task here, to stop and say, I recognize it. I might fail just a bit, but I notice this is not part of my new identity. This is not part of what I want, and take it as something good. Take it as a good sign. Yesterday morning, I felt bad, but I stopped. I also had a conference in the morning. Usually, like, I consider myself as the luckiest person on earth. Really, like, everything always happens in the most beautiful, amazing way. And this is a core belief that I have. And yesterday morning, I had a conference in the morning, and I had a lot of things planned for yesterday. And I knew that going to this conference might not be the best decision, but I decided to still go to this conference. And what happened is that the bus that I need to take, I ran to the bus because I saw a bus leaving, but eventually it was a bus that took the longer way. So I ended up being late 30 minutes to this conference, and the whole conference was like 1.5 hours, 2 hours. So it also felt a bit waste of my time. And I'm the type of person who usually, when there is a bus and I'm running to the bus, I'm the luckiest ever, always have like everything planned for me. Everything is like smooth. And the fact that yesterday wasn't smooth for me felt bad. It was more fuel to this fire that I had inside my brain of the guilt that I did not record the episodes on Saturday, the guilt that I did not finish the assignments for university, the guilt that more things happened in my life, a lot of guilt and being ashamed of stuff. And taking all of that, no matter where you are in your life, when you have this snowball effect of guilt, shame, whatever, I beg you, stop and be thankful and grateful for it. Because when you realize and you notice it, you are above the circumstances. You are above the situation. You recognize a pattern. You recognize something happens here and you need to be grateful for it because you understand this is a present you got and now you can overcome it. The way you're going to interact now and how you're going to approach the things later on will determine eventually the results that you're going to have. So instead of being super feeling bad and guilt and whatever, I woke up today, and also yesterday I went to sleep very late, and I did about 3-4 weeks ago schedule that I'm going to wake up every day at 6, going to go to sleep every day at 10. And yesterday I went to sleep around 2 a.m. and woke up today at 8. I didn't do the workout in the morning. Like, I know I'm going to do it in the evening, but it was more important for me to start and record this episode in the morning. And now it's even not a morning. It's like 12 p.m. So instead of holding this guilt of things didn't go as smooth as I planned, I did not work on the app that I'm building for a few days. I feel a lot of things. I take step back and look at the things from above and understand, okay, there is patterns here that I need to overcome. And I kind of look at this as a system, as line of code, I don't know, whatever. And I break down everything. So in this area of my life, okay, with the app that I'm building, I did not work on it. And I tried to be practical, of course, also realistic and understand why I didn't do stuff. But I look at this from a point of view of observer and not from a point of view of you didn't do that, you didn't do that. Like, I am my own boss eventually, but I also need to understand there's more things that can affect us as human beings, and that's fine. Emotional things, health, like everything. A lot of things can impact us, and we need to take everything into consideration. Now, I don't think that should be an excuse, say that your emotions held you back or whatever, but looking at things from a point of perspective of you are the observer, and never feel guilt because you know that you always have another chance in your own life to come and stand up again and do whatever you needed to do. I hope that makes sense. So let's say there's a few things I needed to finish and I didn't do that and I postponed them and delayed them. Instead of being in a huge guilt energy, eventually what happens, as we talked about energies and everything, so my body is a container. If I'm gonna put inside this container a lot of pressure, a lot of energy of guilt, what I'm going to have, my entire body, my entire container is gonna have energy of guilt, of shame, of bad emotions. And eventually what it's going to happen, we attract things that we radiate, that we feel, that we have inside our body. So if this is the type of energy I have, I'm going to attract more stuff like this in my life. But if I say, okay, this is something that I'm not going to tolerate, I'm not going to tolerate feeling guilt because that's just a waste of my time and my energy. Maybe I didn't do the stuff that I needed to do, but having those feelings of guilt, of shame, of, I don't know, feeling bad, that's not going to help me to accomplish what I needed to do from the first place. So yes, you can maybe think about it for a second, but that's it. Like, you don't have, I know there's a lot of emotions out there in the world. You don't have to experience all of them if you don't want to, because you understand the difference and how it affects your entire system. So let's go back for a second. Let's say you didn't finish something you needed to do and you start feeling this guilt. I talked about the present and being thankful about those kind of stuff. So why should I be grateful for this? As I said, there's a test here. A test, if you remember our previous episodes, it's like you having a standard. You have the new standard that you set for yourself, and suddenly something old habit, something surface, and you experience it again. So your whole point here is whether you're gonna hold accountable for the new standards, for the new boundaries you have in your container, whatever. Are you going to let in this pressure, this old feelings, this old behaviors? Or are you going to say, no, this is not part of my life. Maybe just a ride for a visit, but this is not part of my life. This is not who I am. And once you see it this way, you will see that everything is gonna go away. When you think that way and you tell yourself, okay, I notice something here is happening. I'm not on top of the things. I'm losing the momentum. I'm whatever. And you stop. And instead of letting in this new energy, you set the boundary and say, this is not part of who I am today. You let go of this energy and you don't let it in. You don't let it inside your body, your container, your entire physical, whatever. You just say, this is not part of who I am. And here's where the snowball effect starts happening again, because we as human beings, we will never currently, as we are living in this world right now, we can never have this just straightforward way that we achieve everything that we want. There's going to be obstacles eventually. And those obstacles are here to teach us lessons and to make sure we evolve. If we will not have those lessons, these obstacles, this, fall back for a second, setbacks, we will not evolve. This is just part of us as human beings. And something that I realized also looking at my own life throughout the years, and also from listening and learning from so many people, it's a law. It's like a rule that we have in our world. Before everything that you want will happen, you will have a test. You will have a test. You might have a setback. You might feel and surface everything that you let go of will come back just to test you and to see whether you're standing with your new identity or not. And when you remember this, everything becomes much easier because, as I said, you look at things from a point of view of observer. You don't look at things as, why is it happening to me again? I test this, like, why is it happening again in my life? No, you look at this from a point of view of, I'm the luckiest person on this earth. Thank God this happens now because I know I'm closer than ever to whatever I wanted. And in order to get back on track, as I talked a lot in the previous episodes, start small. So I'll tell about myself. So I really wanted to be very structured with my episodes and everything and record upfront many episodes because, first of all, my second semester in university starting in 3 weeks. I'm going to have a lot of changes in my life starting in beginning of April, and I need to have a lot of energy and room for that. And many things also that I need to handle. And also I know that something, as I said, something very important for me right now is making room for a relationship to come inside my life. And of course, also like work and my career and everything. And I realized right now, like my main focus is on automating things, look at things that I really want in my life and be brutally honest about myself and say, okay, this is what I want. What do I need to clear? What do I need to automate? How can I create more space in this area of my life, in this field, in order to let in new energy? So as I said, with relationships, I realized that I need to have maybe free weekends. So in order to have free weekends, I need to somehow automate the podcast and somehow to record maybe instead of one episode every time, maybe record 5 episodes in one day and then have 1 week that I'm going to focus just on the podcast, and then I'm going to have content for a month and more. So that's how I look at things now. And you know what? Funny thing is that I plan to record today for this week the episodes about meditations. I have a few planned that I know that I want to talk about. I wrote everything, all the notes, everything. And when I woke up today, I just had this urge to record this topic because I felt like this is something that I feel right now in my body, and it will be much more powerful to talk about it. The guilt and shame that sometimes we hold. And let's take a step back for a second. If I wouldn't had this goal of I'm gonna have episode each and every week for at least 1 year, I probably would not record this episode today because it's last minute. I have so many things to do, but I knew this is something important that I need to do. As you can tell, I have a different background because I just realized I could not go to the background that I have. It's gonna take more time, more energy, and I try to do the best that I can. And this is the next step, I would say. So as I said, if you feel the guilt, be grateful. Understand this is a good sign you're on the right track. Then the second thing is, here's the practical steps, okay? As always, I'm trying to do the practical steps too. So first, being grateful, recognize the pattern and recognize the snowball effect that's starting to happen maybe. Second, start small and let go of the guilt and shame and just do what you need to do. So I knew that yesterday I need to finish the assignments I had. I don't have any other focus for other things. And today I knew that I must in the morning record this episode. So start small. The third thing is, after starting small and start gaining this momentum back, is push through your limits. And maybe it should be even a step before, because in order to do the small steps, you need to push through your limits. And to push through your limits is saying, okay, I have tons of stuff doing right now. It's the least comfortable thing I can do now is to record an episode, to do that, to do the assignment, to do the work, to do the whatever. But this is the test that I need to overcome in order to come closer to where I want. Although it's not uncomfortable, I need to somehow make it happen. If we look at myself, I set myself a goal. I want to have more room in my life, more space in order to let in energy of relationship, because I realized that currently I don't have it. I don't have the time for it. And I do want to have the time for it. But you know what comes first? It's like the chicken and the egg. On the one hand, I do feel that, things can come your way. But at the same time, I feel like I need to create space for this in order to come in my life. So in order to come into my life, I had this new goal. Once I started working toward this goal, I started to have obstacles. And things that I built start to fall apart. I'm doing with my hands, So I look at this as a good sign, as a good thing. And I'm grateful for it. And I know that I will do the episodes the way I wanted to record a few episodes, but I don't take it personally. I don't beat myself up for it. I don't say why didn't you do it? I used to do it in the past. And today I know how powerful the self-talk we have and how it affects our life. When you start this bad self-talk with yourself, it's going to affect every area of your life. And eventually your results will be accordingly. So keep yourself accountable also on how you speak to yourself in your head, because this is probably one of the most important things. I'll try to summarize it with: be compassionate with yourself and remember, setbacks are just part of the way, and be grateful for them. Once you are grateful for them, you're showing the universe, the God, energies, whatever you believe in, that you're not afraid. You're not afraid, and you know you're on the right path, and you trust in yourself. You have the right confidence, right amount of confidence that you're going to achieve it, and you're not letting anything let you down. Remember this. And sometimes, this is also important before we finish. Sometimes when we have the small setbacks, let's say you start a new diet, you start a workout routine, maybe you had this huge schedule for a few months and all the workouts planned, but one workout you missed after 2 weeks. And you probably tell yourself, no, that's fine. That's fine. Tomorrow I'm going to do the other workout. So what will happen next? It will be easier for you to not do the workouts that you plan to do, because one time you had the setback, and it will be much easier to have this more setbacks in the future. So I want to separate those two scenarios. Okay. First of all, if you recognize in life that you have a setback, try to push through it. Try to push through it. Like now, looking back at my weekend, I needed to push through it, and I didn't. And the effect of not pushing through it and staying in the comfortable zone is the guilt that comes after. I'm showing you with my hands if you don't watch the video. So this is the scenario of you didn't push through it and you had a setback of you're sick, you don't feel like doing something, you feel like you're tired, you're whatever. Remember that all those feelings, maybe sometimes even when you're sick, I don't know what about you, but when I'm sick, sometimes, especially if I have something very important that I need to do, I know that's my body way to tell me that I'm breaking through something. Many times in my life, I was sick in moments where I needed to break through, and I did break through. I had it when I trained to my first half marathon, and even though I was sick, I went for workouts, and that was the one time that I realized that actually running when I'm sick is actually helping me feel better. um, when I gave my first lecture with 200 people, I was so sick, but I still made the lecture. I know about myself that sometimes my body shows sickness when I have something I need to break through. So if you're in the first scenario before the setback, you recognize the setbacks, I beg you, push through. Push through because you can. If you have a goal that you want to do, you can do it. And I didn't believe in karma till a few years ago, but I started to really believe in karma. Eventually, the push that you give, the effort that you give, it's gonna come to you tenfold. So if you push through something and when it's not comfortable for you, you will gonna get back tenfold and have whatever you wanted, and you're gonna see much more than that. Let's say you did have the setback, you fall and you didn't do what you told yourself to do, and you stayed in the comfort zone. I feel like that's the scenario that most people don't talk about in episodes and podcasts, whatever, because that's happened a lot to people. If that happened and you stayed in the comfortable zone, what will happen next is the guilt, is the shame, it's the why did I do that? And probably it's going to be a snowball effect of getting you more situations that will expand the snowball effect of having this guilt, of the shame, of whatever, and falling from the momentum you had. And that's the real test you have to go through now. It's a bigger test now because you didn't go through the previous test. Now you have a bigger test to come, which is basically telling the universe, okay, I fell, but I'm still on top of the things. And it's going to be a bigger test here because you already let in energy, the old energy inside your container. Once you had this setback and fall, you let in and you didn't do the things that you wanted to do. You let inside your body, your container, the old energy. And the lesson is much bigger now. So be aware of it, recognize it. And once you have it, when you have a bigger lesson, also the award can be much bigger. I don't tell you like, go through it and do it on purpose. No, because I don't think it will be beneficial for your mental stability and stuff. But if you have a bigger lesson here, recognize it, watch it from the top, and just know that it's a good thing that happened for you and be grateful for it. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I tried to keep it as short as possible. And in the upcoming episodes, we're going to talk a lot about meditation. I don't know if it's going to be 1 episode or 2 episodes or 3 episodes. We're going to see how it's going to go. But I really want to take you deep down into the actual tools that can help you to recognize yourself, know yourself on a much more deeper level. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode and I see you next week. Bye.